Hello and welcome to Out of Britain with me, Radhika Iyer. I'm coming to you from central London. Britain's cost of living crisis has become a defining one for several households, in fact all households here in Britain, particularly for British Indians. From rising costs of bills, utility, grocery bills, in fact several other taxes that are being imposed upon people. Here in Britain, the pinch, the economic squeeze is being felt that much more. On Out of Britain today, we explore just how British Indians are navigating this crisis of living every day, day to day, paying bills, paying those expenses. It's a battle of sorts, battle of paying house bills in Britain. And that's what we're talking about. With young Indians who are building their lives, with students who have just come with a bag full of dreams, with an ambition to have global careers, global or very high quality education, and at the same time, financial independence, but instead are having to navigate very expensive rents, very expensive bills, even as visa rules are constantly changing. On Out of Britain, we ask, has Britain become a very hard dream to achieve for those, in fact, who have traveled the farthest to pursue it?
Bank interest rates for education loan is really high, and the certainty of jobs as well.
The meal prep services actually come out to be cheaper than cooking food at home.
Milk has gone up by 38% in Britain, chicken 35%, fresh vegetables 39%.
As I'm doing a part-time job, so it's so difficult to survive in a day-to-day life on a 20-hour job.
You're not able to save or invest for your future. You're just living paycheck to paycheck.
And for families, it's even worse. People with kids, it's just very difficult.
So London has become a city to survive,
Yes.
not for growth. So what do you do when you have a group of Indians who by now over a cup of chai have gotten a good peek of each other? We talk about how to save money. That is the hardest, but we have a Gujarati on the table. So we're hoping that we will go away from this conversation, not just reflecting on how our day-to-day is impacted by Britain's cost of living crisis and the rising inflation, which has been the highest in the last 2 years. Just a quick fact before I start. The UK's shop inflation. What do I mean by shop inflation? How much is the milk? How much is the cheese? How much is the chicken? How much is bread and eggs? Shop inflation in Britain on retail purchases in Britain has been the highest it has been in the last 4 years, according to Financial Times. Shall we say Britain's economy is in a dire state? We shouldn't shy away from saying that. However wealthy Britain is, the day-to-day living is impacted, and I'm going to understand from each of us on this table how long-term plans perhaps could be impacted. Lakshmi Mittal decided to move, settle somewhere else in Switzerland. I won't say why, but he decided that we want to move on after several years in Britain. But that could be for a variety of reasons. It's not just high-profile business families, but many young professionals are making this choice of wanting to go back. My niece, in fact, not long ago, a student of London School of Economics, decided, I can't do this, I can't live here. India is more convenient, there are jobs, there's the sun, and the economy generally in India, as we know, the GDP is bigger than that of Britain now. So she's gone back. So the choices we're making. On our round table, which is actually a rectangular table, let me quickly run introductions. Mr. Bikram Banerjee, who is a senior professional, IT professional in JP Morgan, and also the national convener of the BJP Friends of the UK, for joining us. Thank you. Vishnupriya and Rohan, I'm going to introduce the two of you together. They're a couple, and Vishnupriya and Rohan I came across through my browsing time, and their YouTube content was something that I appreciated a lot, because the two of them, apart from having their day jobs and well-paying day jobs, living in central London, on your YouTube channel, share content on how to make good financial decisions, or sometimes bad ones, yeah? And how to navigate those bad decisions. Was that a fair summary of your introduction?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, great. Raj Parekh, a student from Gujarat, on a scholarship now, University of East London, studying cloud computing. Okay, great. Poojan, a Delhi student, studying international relations and wants to be a social impact leader. Yeah. And Divya, a former journalist, a digital journalist, and also a student at King's College in London, and studying how to tackle terrorism in our world. Excellent and super relevant. I'm going to ask this question first. Just Any other time in London, maybe Bikram, you could answer this. How long have you lived here in London?
2005 I came.
Okay, that's more than 20 years.
Yeah.
On any other day like this, on a Sunday, just after a meeting like this we can call as a work meeting, would you have lunch plans and would you have to ditch that today? Today, would you be thinking differently and saying, no, I'm not going to eat out, I'll go home?
Generally, my schedule is very busy, but Sunday generally, yes, I try to spend time with family.
Yeah.
But this is a relevant conversation.
And do you eat out as often?
I do, but not as often I used to be. I become sensible. Again, cost of money, cost of living. And I also faced financial challenges. I was a highly paid job at Visa, and then I got redundancy a couple of years back. And getting the job at the right level, senior level, was absolutely... So in last 2 years, I was out of job for 11 months. I did a consultancy in between with Fidelity and then joined JP Morgan. So I had to then think about what is important, what is not so important. Yes, we do some eat out, and if it is used to be like, oh, today I'm not feeling, let's go outside or order food and delivery. Now it's balanced, maybe twice a month, limit to that, or special occasion.
Imagine a rich man like Bikram has to do that. What about us? Divyam, was Britain for you as a student the first choice, and what were your other choices? What was plan B, plan C?
So, I mean, for me, King's College was always plan A, plan B, plan C for me, because I was doing really well in India. I was working with NDTV. And for me, the transition was mainly to upskill myself. So that's why King's College London was always in the works. For me, it's sort of like part of, I would say, very close to me, because I live with my sister here in London and I've visited London before as well. So I'm familiar with the culture, I'm familiar with the place. But coming as a student, it's, I would say, a giant leap of faith, because now I have to be very cautious about spending. In Delhi, I was very relaxed, I was living with family.
Would you have come if you didn't have sister? If you had to live in a rented accommodation and bills to pay?
Yeah, I think, because I was having a discussion with my father before I was applying to King's. So he asked me, what if your sister wasn't there? I was like, I would not have gone there. Because I understand, firstly, the bank interest rates for education loan is really high. And secondly, the cost of living is, I think, around, you need at least £12,000 a year. That's minimum to get a visa. And obviously it goes beyond that. So it's like £13,000, £14,000 a year. And the certainty of jobs as well. So I do have that financial security as well as that social security as well through my family. That's why it made it very easy for me to come to London. Otherwise, I would not have.
Yeah, it's an expensive thing. Thank God for families.
Yeah, exactly.
And thank God for Indian families. Because then food is taken care of. You can just take everything for granted. It's family. Tell me the most helpful trick or tip that you did with your money in the last, say, 3 years that has helped you a lot.
So I think one of the tricks that she introduced us was tracking our expenses. We were spending a lot on takeaways or just going out and eating. We didn't realize that we spent £80 on just a random dinner. So we started tracking down our expenses on an app called Snoop, and that really helped us eliminate a lot of the subscriptions we were not using. A lot of the takeaways which we really didn't need. We subscribed to meal prep services once we realized that takeaways or dining out is being so expensive, and especially with the groceries also so expensive. The meal prep services actually come out to be cheaper than cooking food at home.
Let's go to some research. Some of the several sources say milk has gone up by 38% in Britain. Cheddar was born in Britain and it's a local product. Cheddar doesn't get imported here. Cheddar cheese has gone up by 42% in the last 3.5 years. Chicken 35%, fresh vegetables 39%. I am always picking carrots and cabbage every week because it's less than £1, sometimes just over £1. And I'm dropping the more expensive one. Sometimes I'm having to leave the spinaches and the organic food aisle I don't go to at all because it's far more expensive. So, and then I thought to myself that if every week I'm making a choice like that, I'm eventually not noticing that my meal is actually not so balanced. Because That's the impact on the everyday that cost of living crisis has had. How your plate looks different, how your day looks different, how your thinking ability is different, and how your decisions and where you choose to meet your friends and who you want to be friends with sometimes in some cases is also changing. So let's talk about the everyday. I'll come to long-term plan in just a bit. How has everyday changed? Vishnu, you want to go?
Yeah.
Vishnu Priya?
No, so first of all, I completely relate with what you said, because we can't just eat carrots and potatoes to save money. And we also try to live a very balanced, healthy life. We go to the gym, we run a lot, etc. So for us to, meet those protein goals, etc., if we were to buy everything and then also cook at home, because that takes time. So we thought, why not give a try to meal prep services where, with these balanced meals comes, and sometimes there are discount codes running, etc. So we started doing that, and we actually feel this on a day-to-day. When you're coming back after work, you're so tired, and instead of just eating whatever, we would just have like a meal prep and then work on our YouTube. So it gives us a lot of time back. Definitely agree that even, I'm honestly speaking, like last year when we were shopping for groceries, we would actually shop from Amazon because I had a discount as an employee. So that really
Why
helped.
not exploit every single avenue?
Exactly. But then this year, the discounts off, and we started thinking about, okay, what now? Because groceries are expensive and it just takes so much time to cook. So definitely you should explore like different meal prep services. I know they're like super underrated, and I'm not talking about the Hello Freshes where you buy boxes. I'm actually talking about pre-cooked meals where you just like put them in the oven or
yes.
microwave, and saves so much time, and it's so healthy.
Planning
Yeah.
is very, very helpful. As a Gujarati, how much of penny pinching do you do?
According to my perspective, as I'm Gujarati, so lots of my food comes from my home country. My mother parcel to me. So some of the food from India, but I usually go for the shopping go to Amazon for the cheaper food. I as I work for the Amazon, so I got some of the vouchers and the discount price. But as I'm doing a part-time job, so it's so difficult to survive in a day-to-day life on a 20 hours job. So 25% I go for my mother's home food based food from the parcel, and now the system is a home packed food from India. And I usually go making a food by my home country, use my hot water, and it's so good for me. Same taste from India and the UK.
Wow.
So I go for this right nowadays, and it's so trending right now. So you can save lots of money with that loving brand by Good Juice. So you should try that.
Can I be your friend, please?
Of course, sure, ma'am.
I'm going to take a quick break now. But we've spoken about how we choose sometimes bananas over berries. Even that banana is a luxury now. How carrots and cabbages are right there on the kitchen worktops, because they're slightly cheaper than other vegetables. So we've spoken about the everydays, I think. But in the next half, I'd love to speak about long-term decisions, long-term impact, job searches, even with senior professionals like us, what redundancy means, how competitive this job market is, and whether Britain has become a far dream for people like us who have traveled farthest, arguably, to pursue this dream. Just after we break. So if you were living and earning in a city like London, in the UK, which all over UK is so expensive, and London particularly, what is the percentage of your income that will go towards tax and grocery, rent, etc.? Just basic, as they say in Hindi, mota expenses.
I would like to say that we spend about 80% of our income on all the utilities, the rent and taxes. And that's given that we both are earning and we don't have kids, so that also helps. But I believe for a single person, it could be more than that. And that really, tightens your savings. You're not able to save or invest for your future. You're just living paycheck to paycheck. So I feel for single people, it's really a struggle. For us, it's kind of helpful because we both are earning money.
And for families, it's even worse. People with kids, it's just very difficult.
So have you had to postpone important milestones, having a kid, getting married, maybe in your case as young students who've traveled from India or are in the mid-career level for your case, for instance, because Divyam has worked in India and come here, so or buying a house. So personal milestones, have you had to postpone them? Let's start with you.
So quickly, I did good financial decisions. So first of all, one third, I would say. depending on what salary you are. Your mortgage is the biggest one, or rent. Then your car bill, electricity bill, food, etc. All of these, and then rest of the 1/3 or 20% or 10% should be your savings or holiday, etc. What has happened, I'll touch upon what is milestone. My daughter used to go to Abbey School in Reading, expensive, 20% VAT got added after new government decisions, and I got a redundancy. And as a dad, it was a heartening for me to do the hard decision. I had a serious conversation with her, and she said, "Dad, I will do well. Don't worry about that." I had to pull her from the private school. He said about 30,000 pound annual cost.
And that's a hard decision for an Indian parent, especially because education is everything for Indian families. And so you want to send 80-90% of your income towards children's education.
Absolutely. Another thing is that you must, as a young professionals, as soon as you have opportunity, don't pay rent. Buy your house with the mortgage, which is less than or equal to your rent, or even a little more, because you're investing in asset, and the value grows up. I did good other.
But how can they do that? There are no jobs.
That's the challenge.
80% is going towards rent, even if there were. Let's
That's
take
slavery,
rent.
rent slavery, I would say.
Yeah, you know, I saw this content on Instagram. I can't even remember who, but one lady put it so beautifully. She said, London has become a city to survive,
Yes.
not for growth. It's a city where you survive paycheck to paycheck, as Rohan put. How the hell do you land a good job in Britain?
So, I've started connecting with people on LinkedIn, and based on my conversations that I've had, it's just that not every sector, I believe, is affected by AI. Certain sectors like management and strategy and data management, those sectors are affected. Not primarily mine, but yes, journalism is going through that AI phase, and that's pretty bad. So because of that, I have to retransition and reposition my career choices, and it's really tough because it's a very, very niche market. And like you said, that London is a city to survive, not to grow. And because of that, then you start looking for other options as well. So I'm looking for jobs in Dubai, in Singapore, in Sydney. I've been recommended by people that London, it's good to spend a couple of years, unless you are in finance or in IT.
Vishnupriya.
You know, once you're here in the UK, how to survive in London? Control your lifestyle inflation, because once you come here, London has just so many things to do. So, and you can get so easily distracted. So my tip would be, stay grounded. I'm not saying that you don't have to like do things, but budget, track your expenses, be very strict with where you're spending so that you can have a very balanced life.
Excellent. Excellent point.
For me, don't just survive, thrive. Have the growth mentality, and upskill, as you said. One thing is very important. Becoming selfish when you are surviving is probably the natural instinct, but as a human species, we survived and we rule this world because we work in collaboration. Especially Indian students, Indian families who are surviving. We are 2% of the population, 8% of the GDP. We have a lot of business people are there. We need to create an ecosystem where when you need job, even in the new economy, our people get the job. So there might be, and I'm using this term, Indian or Sanatani business ecosystem has to be created where business and workforce can be connected. That ecosystem does not exist today. I would say during COVID time, through different organizations, we help students with food, but there is a lot of temple, they have a places. If, say for example, there are students, a section of the center become homeless, temple should come forward. They cannot stay in the paradigm of I am just doing puja part. So there is a lot of changes society needs to adjust, and we need to create that ecosystem. What I can try and promise collectively, I will talk to with the new responsibility and talk to the other communities. If we can create the ecosystem for Sanatani financial ecosystem and workforce, that will be the great help. Because the network and connections that you are trying to create is that, I'll tell you, one of the activists from Bangladesh, Bengali Hindus, he was attacked. He came as a victim here, got his asylum. It's a valid case, and I was involved in that. He needed job. He is on benefit, but he doesn't want to stay in benefit. That's we Indian. That's we are our values. And then yesterday or a couple of days back, I called somebody who is my friend. He is in hotel industry, 4 hotels. He is into finance, and said, "Can you help him?" He said, "Maybe I have a job for him," and I got it. So, and these connections can work. It's just we need to develop this behavior of connecting.
Take his number. What I'm picking from everybody in the table, and I agree with that, and I relate to this, is cautious is a beautiful word you used. For anyone who's watching this or who has plans to move to London, and if you're watching beautiful videos of how great London life is, which it is, but being very cautious, conservative in your spending, almost struggling to survive day to day is a reality. And keep that in mind, because it's not going to be easy, especially if you're a student who has to study all day at the university. Find a job just to keep yourself going, but actually find a career is another ballgame altogether. So it's going to be hard, as vouched for by all of us here on this table. Excellent. I would love to keep talking about this. This is such a fascinating topic, but we have to stop just now. Thank you for your time, all of you, and those great messages. And if you have questions, we might be able to toss it to anybody here on this table, or we might share your experience with all of us. Thanks ever so much. We'll take a little breather now so we can have a cup of masala chai, because chai to banta hai and it's not still over £5. Thanks ever so much. Keep saving, keep being cautious, but at the same time, remember to be as realistic. Radhika Iyer signing off on Out of Britain.